I'm so pleased to welcome to the stage Dr. Susan Salcido, Santa Barbara County Superintendent of Schools. Dr. Salcido has served as the Santa Barbara County Superintendent of Schools since 2017, supporting 20 school districts and 10 charter schools, and overseeing 200 programs for 70,000 children and youth countywide. Her leadership has focused on key education concerns, including academic rigor, school safety, youth mental wellness, and expanding early care education and career pathways. Dr. Salcido began her career as a high school English teacher and coach, then moved into roles as assistant principal, and deputy county superintendent of schools. In 2013, she received the prestigious Marcus Foster Memorial Award for Administrator Excellence from the Association of California School Administrators. In 2017, ACSA named her Administrator of the Year for Region 13. Help me in welcoming Dr. Salcido. Of course, welcome.
Great activity.
Sure.
Good morning. It is so wonderful to see all of you. I'm going to crane my neck this way to say hi to the table to the right, to the left over there, and to all of you. That was a fun activity, and there were some funny stickers too. We should do that at a break. Like, what sticker did you not show? They were very Amazon-y. I want to say thank you so much to each and every one of you for making today happen. It is very challenging to be away from your site or your programs and your nonprofits for a day. It is so challenging, and so the fact that you've made all the arrangements to be here means so much. So thank you, thank you. We have guests and friends from out of county who traveled here, and we know that there's extra to spend the night or come really early in the morning. So from out of county and within county, thank you to our colleagues. I too want to mention Kirsten Criswell. And Kirsten, boy, I feel like she's been working around the clock since last year's summit ended, for a whole year. And what is so awesome is that the state recognized Kirsten also. They honored her with a very prestigious award this year in 2024, the Leadership and Legacy Award, partly for putting this summit on and for all of the great work you do. So a round of applause to Kirsten. Thank you. Such a champion. And I know many of you attend this each and every year. Some of you, this is your very first summit. How many of you, this is your very first wellness summit for Santa Barbara County? Awesome. We're so glad that you're with us. One person I get to see at least once a year because of this summit is someone who was mentioned before, Chef Bethany Markey and Chef B. Yep. It's such a pleasure to see our friends each year, at least here. And Chef B, so full of energy, so full of curiosity and wonder, creativity, and always with a vision of making delicious, nutritious food for our students so that they can be so fueled with energy and deliciousness. So thank you, Chef B. Later today on your agendas, I know you have them in front of you, but I just want to lift up and amplify some of our own local experts. Dr. Ann Sorg, fortunately, I get to work with Dr. Ann Sorg now. We've known each other for several years. Unfortunately, because of the COVID-19 pandemic is how we got to meet, but fortunately, he'll be here and sharing with you today. Alma Hernandez, who's a Santa Maria Joint Union High School District board member, and also a field representative for Supervisor Joan Hartman. Alma is one of those people that is for the people, of the people, and I know that her roots are right here with the people in Santa Barbara County, Guadalupe and Santa Maria and Lompoc and the Valley, and I can't wait for us to hear from Alma today. And then Suzanne Grimacy is one final person I just wanted to amplify from Santa Barbara County. Suzanne Grimacy, who has been honored and recognized and gotten such huge accolades from statewide legislators But equally as important, I think, is she has such high respect and regard from people who are our own neighbors and community members and our friends. When they experience a traumatic event, oftentimes Suzanne is the person who's right there. She's such an incredible human. So I can't wait for you to hear from Suzanne later today as well. So I, this morning, woke up excited about the Wellness Summit today, totally reflecting on, oh gosh, I get a chance to welcome everybody. What an honor. And then I heard news that some of you might have heard last night about Fernando Valenzuela. Fernando Valenzuela. Okay, so not to be divisive at all, but the Dodgers are my team. The Dodgers are my team. And so, you know, there's another team that is apparently in the World Series with the Dodgers, but the Dodgers are my team. So Fernando Valenzuela, he passed away last night. And so I must admit, I was distracted in my thinking. My prep for this morning, I was totally diverted by the Dodgers. So I'm going to welcome you. I'm going to converge the Dodgers in just a moment with a welcome summit. It just has to happen because my head is in that way. So let me just say a few things. Many of you know that I grew up in Santa Maria, super proud to have grown up there. Went to Adam Elementary and El Camino Junior High and Santa Maria High School. That's where I grew up, and I loved every minute of my childhood there. But I do want to just go back a little bit further in thinking about this wellness. So if you wouldn't mind if I walk a little bit down memory lane. So my parents are from South Korea, born in South Korea, and my sister was born in South Korea before my family moved to California. My father went to schools in South Korea, elementary, junior high, high school, and he went to a university and got a degree as a pharmacist. And he opened up a pharmacy. The pharmacy isn't like a CVS today. It's more like if you think about, you know those Chinese cabinets with lots of little drawers? So his pharmacy was like that, a wall full behind him. You would walk in with cabinets and you'd open them up and there'd be roots and, you know, earth and herbs and, you know, things where he would make elixirs and not potions, that sounds a little weird, but, you know, concoctions to help people. And that was what his degree was in. So he got married to my mother, they had my sister, and then they moved to the United States with that American dream that we hear about very often. Many of you can relate. And when my family came to the United States didn't at the time recognize this pharmacy degree, this graduate degree. So my father, his first job here in the United States was as a janitor. He became a custodian and he cleaned buildings and offices in Los Angeles. And my mother took in laundry. And so they ended up kind of putting their money together and they opened up an Orange Julius in Long Beach. Have you heard of the Orange Julius, like a hamburger? Okay, I was like, do people know Orange Julius? I don't know. Okay, so I think I must have eaten a lot of chili dogs and hot dogs and orange drinks. But when I was 5, we moved to Santa Maria. So that's how we ended up in Santa Maria. And they opened up a little motel, a 24-unit motel. And so motels never close, right? They're open all night, all day. So my parents' work ethic is really, really strong. And so therefore really has passed on to our family as well. But what I was thinking about recently is that our family, we did not have medical insurance. We did not have dental insurance. So we never got to see preventative care, but we often would see somebody if something was wrong. My father, being a pharmacist, he'd help with our own farm. I mean, there was weird things brewing all the time. It really was strange. I even will say, culturally being respectful, it was still weird. But when we need to go see the dentist because something happened, my parents would collect their cash, pay in installments, and we'd go to the dentist. So it made me really think about how different it is today. probably all of us in this room, and maybe not for all of our families we serve, but for myself, I'm grateful to have medical insurance, and I'm thinking about the wellness that comes with that. So then let me go to the Dodgers, because remember I was telling you about the Dodgers. So at El Camino Junior High School, one day we had a guest speaker coming in to speak to us. And so all the students in 7th and 8th grade went into the multi-purpose room. And out in the corner in the courtyard, I could see my principal walking down the hallway with the guest speaker. And this person was kind of a very thin, tall young man. And he came in and he introduced himself as a rookie for the Dodgers. And his name is Oral Hershiser. Okay, so Oral Hershiser came in the early 80s, and apparently the Dodgers would have the rookies go around to schools and really be motivating. And so, Oral Hershiser later went to pitch for the World Series game where they won like they will do. They won in 1988. Oral Hershiser pitched it, and he ended up becoming, a most valuable player and into the World Series. The Hall of Fame. But it reminds me a lot of my dad listening to Vin Scully on the TV and just growing up with that voice. And so when I talk about the Dodgers being a fan, it's because of the experience from school. It's because of that experience hearing Vin Scully. And so, I definitely bleed blue. Well, I wanted to say that, for our family, my parents did so well with what they had. We had shelter, we had clothes, we had food. But it was really school that provided me with physical education and activity. It was school that had PE and recess. I really don't think I would have had it in any other way. It was school that provided me with an eye exam in 2nd grade. And so school said, you know what, I think you might need glasses. And so I got glasses in 2nd grade because of school. It was school that provided me with art and music. It was school that provided me with social time and academic challenging time and field trips and guest speakers like Oral Hershiser. And so it's really all of that is combined to me as a why. Why is it important to have such a well-rounded supports in our schools? Community schools, how important that is. Summits like these, like we're learning from each other. Because I think a lot of you might have been like me, and a lot of our students are like me, where they really rely on school to provide all of that care, well-roundedness. It's not only about nutrition and physical activity, it's about the mental wellness, and it's also the joy that comes in our schools today as well. So I want to say a big thanks to our schools, our nonprofit providers, our school districts, county offices. We are now more than ever focusing on food and nutrition, behavioral mental health, safety and security, and ensuring that students have access and opportunity. And none of us want to leave this to chance or privilege. None of us want this to be about who can access it and who might be able to access it. We want all of our students to be able to access all of these supports in our schools. I have to say, I asked recently some students, how are we doing in our schools? And so this is the 3rd year this year, I'm convening a student advisory council from high school students from around Santa Barbara County, because I feel a little distant sometimes, from students. I really thought I need to ask our students, how are we doing with all of these goals? And so the last 2 years I've asked this question, and here's what they said that we were doing collectively, what they thought we were doing pretty well in today in schools. These are high school students from all over Santa Barbara County, and they said, we're really getting the conversations around college and career readiness. We get that there's A through G requirements. We see that we're on pathways. So they're like, we're getting that. when I said, what would you want to know more about? And they said, I am not sure that if I leave high school, I'll really be able to navigate if something really goes wrong. I'm not really sure about that. And I'd really like to know more about financial literacy. That was kind of a collective theme. And then when I said, what would you want for your younger brothers and sisters, like coming up in the world? And they had 3 things collectively that they said. 1, for schools to help children be good humans. For 2, to teach more about emotional intelligence. And 3, to normalize conversations about mental health starting earlier. They said, these are high school students who said, upper elementary, junior high would be helpful to have their brothers and sisters normalize about mental wellness in schools. And they said they'd really like to see people talking about going to a counselor like you go to a gym, taking care of our minds as much as our bodies. So the next topic we'll be talking about with the Student Advisory Council, I get to convene this Saturday actually. I'm going to be asking them a little bit more about social media and phones on them. I don't want to do it as adults about students, but I want to ask the students about the students. And I'm really excited. So I'm concerned about it. I think we all are. I have heard our students even identify themselves. Yeah, I spend too much time on my phones, honestly. They're really honest about it. We have in Santa Barbara County at the UCSB Arts and Lectures, February 20th at the Arlington, Jonathan Haidt is coming to speak on Anxious Generation. It's a book that he's written, and he really talks about this generation of children and youth on cell phones. And not only does he talk about data and research about it, he tells us what we might do about it. He talks about it for parents and what we can do as parents, and school systems and what we can do as school systems as well. So circling back to this summit, just like our students, when we ask them, how are we doing? What can we do better? I think this summit provides us to ask the questions for ourselves. How are we doing in our schools around wellness? What might we learn from each other to do a little bit better and use strategies we learn? I think it's as simple as that today. It's being together, collaborating, learning from each other, being open, vulnerable. And I just want to, again, say thank you for the opportunity to speak. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I want to invite you, if you don't have a team for the World Series, to join me, to say, go Dodgers. And because it's blue, you see the report for the community, things that we're doing at SBCEO to support the wellness, transitional youth services, all of the different programs that we have at SBCEO. We also have this brochure, and the brochure is meant to say, here are some absolutely free to schools social and emotional learning, mindfulness, and wellness supports for elementary, junior, and high school. So I brought a couple brochures with me today. And to all of you, thank you, and let's have a wonderful day together. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Salcido, for being part of the ongoing conversation and really opening up our morning. I loved your personal story. I am also from the area. I'm third generation Lompokian, and I went to Lompoc schools. That's, I'm a product, and that is part of my why I'm sitting here today. So I really liked that connection to where we all come from and why we're here.